Hello everyone! Today we'll be presenting our paper on modeling motivational interviewing strategies on an online peer-to-peer counseling platform. The problems that have motivated this research are the surge in participants on these online mental health communities or peer-to-peer support platforms. They've seen a significant growth since the COVID-19 pandemic because of the low barrier to entry and the free offerings that these platforms have because the counselors or listeners are volunteer-based. Because of this, there is an increased need to explore how counseling can best adapt to these online platforms. And to explore this in our paper, we use the schema of motivational interviewing, which is a set of client-centric techniques that have been proven in non-online mediums to work very well in promoting clients to seek change themselves. So using this schema, we seek to build a data set of motivational interviewing online, where there's very little data currently, so we hope that providing this data set will improve the research in this community. And that leads us to our two research aims. The first is to construct this data set of motivational interviewing usage, and particularly we're interested in motivational interviewing online, so we construct a few new techniques that are unique to the online platform. After constructing this data set, we build language models and investigate the techniques that are used online to see the correlation between motivational interviewing techniques and client satisfaction on these platforms. We hope these analyses will contribute to improving the platforms.
For our methods, we first tailor motivational interviewing schema for the nuances on the online platform and build a new schema. Then we use the 7 cups data to pre-train a large language model for BERT. We also create a data set of roughly 14,797 utterances which are labeled with MI motivational interviewing codes. We do this by first manually labeling utterances and then using a semi-supervised approach to train classifiers and annotate more utterances. We use this data set and our pre-trained mental health BERT to create a set of 17 binary classifiers which we use to label data at a larger scale and perform quantitative exploration. The data set which we built has roughly 15,000 MI labeled unique volunteer counselor utterances from the platform 7 cups of tea. These 17 MI codes roughly fit into 3 buckets. MI consistent is the set of codes where prior literature has shown them to be successful. MI inconsistent is the set of codes which prior literature has shown to be unsuccessful.
Here, to give you a better example of what these codes actually are, we have some examples that have been round-trip translated from 7 cups of tea. Affirm, for example, is when the client says something like, or the listener says something like, "I am so proud of you." So this is when they encourage the client's behavior. Reflection and open question are also MI consistent techniques. MI inconsistent techniques are when the listener is sort of directing the client or forcing them towards a change, or when they say something inappropriate that violates boundaries set on the community. To analyze the techniques that are used online, we use mental health BERT and the 17 binary classifiers to predict MI labels for conversations from January to August, which results in thousands of conversations and millions of utterances. And we seek to answer 2 questions. First, what is the relationship between MI techniques and client satisfaction? And then also we're interested in how listeners change their MI technique usage with experience and the relationship between these 2 questions. So do listeners learn to use techniques that predict client satisfaction over time? Or in other words, do listeners improve over time on these platforms? So to answer the first question, we bucket our conversations based on a Likert scale rating. So after each conversation, clients will rate the conversation with the listener from 1 to 5. So we define satisfactory conversations as 4 to 5, unsatisfactory as a rating of 1 to 3. And based on our analyses between these 2 types of conversations, we find that reflection, persuade, and affirm predict client satisfaction, which is notable because all of these MI techniques are MI consistent, so it aligns with prior literature studying MI consistency in non-online mediums, and that inappropriate is found to be a significant negative predictor for client satisfaction, which is an inconsistent technique and also has important implications for online platforms especially.
For the next research question, we explore how listeners' use of motivational interviewing techniques change with their experience. As listeners gain experience, we see that they use affirm, introduction, conclusion, open questions, and closed questions more. Their usage of affirm aligns with our findings of research question 1, where it is an MI consistent techniques which helps clients more. We also see that increased usage of introduction, conclusion, open questions, and closed questions means that listeners learn and refine a set method of conversing over time. Our study also shows that experienced listeners talk less about themselves. They use personal disclosure and chit-chat less as they gain more experience, which reinforces previous findings that members gain more from conversations which are member-centric. The implications and design recommendations of our work are: 1. Motivational interviewing consistent techniques translate well to online mediums with non-professional counselors. 2. We find that using data sets and models can help empower the process of online therapy, and using data sets and models for detection and flagging systems of listeners who send inappropriate messages can help build safer online mental health platforms. And last, the findings of our work can be incorporated into online mental health community training programs to improve counselor confidence and success.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.